I'm live. Corsicana, Texas. What's going on? We are back. We are back in the building. Also, what's up with Houston, Texas, and Dallas Fort Worth? Welcome to episode number 4. Episode number 4 to the Burning Coals podcast. I am your show host, Mr. Know-It-All. I am the quarterback. I go by the name of Mr. Know-It-All, and I am here with my other co-host. We got the power forward, the one and only. Whenever she get back, we got the educated queen in the house. Give it up to educated queen. We also have with us the shooting guard, the number one shooting guard in the podcasting game, Mr. Gentleman Jamal. Give it up to my boy Gentleman Jamal, the shooting guard. And last but not least, the big fella in the middle. We go by the name Bougie Weirdo. B-Dub, what's going on? Give it up for B-Dub. Give it up. Yes. So, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So, tell me, how was you guys' weekend this weekend? Educated Queen, you go first. How was your weekend this week?
My weekend was good. How about y'all's? Just worked a little bit, rested, studied, and spent some time with my mom.
Oh, wow. So you spent some time. How your mom doing? She doing pretty good?
She's doing well. Thank God she's still here with me.
Oh, that's a blessing. That's a blessing because she's still here with you. Yep, she's still here with you, and make sure that you can definitely spend a lot of time with your folks. Y'all agree with that, especially during the times that we live in there right now. So you're here 1 minute and then you're gone the next. So every time is valuable and precious. Jimmy Jamal, how was your weekend, my friend?
Too short.
My brother says too short, huh?
Too short.
Yeah. But you made it.
Yeah.
All good.
Right now, so if I start lagging, let me know. I'm on a hotel Wi-Fi, but we're gonna make it do what it do.
Right. Well, you know what? The hotel Wi-Fi is working out for you because everything sounds good. It's clear. The visual is clear. So it's good on my end. B-Dub, Goofy Widow. How's your weekend, my friend?
Working on the weekend like usual. Way out in the deep end like usual. Good, though.
Right.
Paper, make a little money. It's all good.
Right. Okay. As far as for myself, my weekend has been pretty good as well. I don't complain about much. Just took it easy. Just kind of being around the house and doing absolutely nothing. Just getting some rest. So that's pretty much the only thing I've been doing. And also, talking with my, family members and friends and stuff like that. So, that's what I got going on this weekend. Not a whole lot at all. So before we get started with the show tonight, if you guys from Corsicana and Jamal, I know this, General Jamal, I know this is not going to apply to you, but, I definitely would tell you, we'll share something with you. But what about classmates from class of 97? Maurice Walker. Real good guy. Passed away. I don't know if he passed away last night. I don't know if it was today, but I've been surfing the social media world, Facebook, and especially on Facebook, and I saw that Maurice Walker had passed away. So my condolences go out to his family, to his friends, and everybody know him. He's a real good guy, man, and class of 97, man. I saw one of our classmates, Byron Ward. He had posted a picture of Maurice on social media, and he was giving his condolences to him, and also just saying, "Hey, class of '97, you need to start, put your whatever differences that you have with someone, put your differences and set them to the side because you never know, like I just alluded to earlier with EQ, that one minute you're here and the next minute you're gone. So with our brother and our classmate Maurice. Our thoughts and prayers are definitely with you. You know, God bless you, your family, man. And I will definitely, remember definitely the times we shared with each other in high school growing up. So I just want to, put that out the way and, let him know that we're thinking about him as well. So we all are hurting with that one. B-Dub, you got anything on that one, brother?
Nah, man. I mean, you said it all, man. Good guy. A lot of fun memories. He definitely was one that would make you laugh. So it's definitely a hard one. And like you say, thoughts with his family and everything, and everybody else. Because man, let me tell you, it's been a lot, particularly for me. I'm not gonna go into all of them, but just say that there's been several over the past week or so that's kind of hit close to home. So thoughts and prayers to everybody that has recently lost someone. And like you said, man, cherish those moments. Don't take them for granted.
Right, absolutely. And also, I want to also send our condolences to DeKentia Crawford. I heard that she lost her loved one, her sister Crystal. I don't know the details about that as well, but I'm very familiar with Crystal as well. And shouts out to condolences and my thoughts and prayers with her and her family as well. So if anybody is watching, watching the podcast, pray for both families. Continue to send your prayers and thoughts to them. And and so because when you go through something like this, you definitely want to be able to reach out and and talk with somebody, but you give them that opportunity to come with you and talk to you about it though, because I remember when everything happened when I lost my loved one. At the time when everything is fresh, you don't really want to deal with nobody. You don't want to talk to nobody, whatever, because you're still trying to grieve the best way you know how. And so that's why I said, let the loved ones, let them come and reach out to you, and don't smother them with, let them, smother them with all the, because everybody want to talk with them, everybody want to have something to say to them, whatnot. But let them grieve and give them some room, and when it's time, they'll definitely reach out to you. So, but thoughts and prayers from the Burning Coals podcast to both of those families.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So, the two topics we're going to talk to about today. The first one is the Roe versus Wade, and the Roe versus Wade being overturned. So we definitely got to talk about that. And then the second topic, which is topic number 2, we're going to talk about the masculine men being taken out of the house. The masculine men taken out of the house is a continuation of the last show, because we didn't get to touch on that a whole lot. But today we'll probably expand on that a little more. And we're going into the detail a bit more than we did the last time on the last show. So we're able to get to that, and we're going to definitely move forward with that. So let's talk about it. Hold on. Uh-oh.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Roe versus Wade. So, Roe versus Wade, this has been a topic that's been on. This has been a topic that's been a trending topic for the last, month or two? The Roe versus Wade. And we're going to definitely dive into it a little bit. So, the Roe versus Wade has been overturned, okay? And a lot of protests has been going on with protesters. We're talking about the pro-life people and the pro-choice people been going back and forth with this overturning with the Supreme Court overturned the Roe versus Wade. But I want to talk about the details about this overturning this case, okay? And the details of the case itself, basically there was a woman, her name is Jane Roe, okay? She's the person who's making the lawsuit with the state. And apparently what transpired is She was trying to file. She wanted to do an abortion in the state of Texas. Well, in the state of Texas at the time, we're talking about in the 1970s, was illegal to do so. So she was like, "Hey, look, my body, my choice. I don't want to have the baby. I want to abort the baby, and so on and so forth and whatnot. The state of Texas won't let me do it. So I'm going to sue the state of Texas." Well, she ended up getting some attorneys and made a federal lawsuit against the state of Texas, where the state of Texas had a lawyer by the name of I think his name was Henry Wade. Don't get me wrong on that, but I believe it's something Wade. But I believe it was Henry Wade represented the state, and so the lawsuit was taking place. But what transpired in that was uh, uh, she wanted. Well, these are allegations saying that she wanted the reason why she wanted this abortion to transpire because she was raped allegedly by a black male, a black man that raped her, and she has already been dealing with. She already has two kids that she was barely taking care of. She was trying to get them, taken care of with the two kids that she had, and a third kid would be a burden, if that's safe to say. So she said that she was raped. This is allegedly, of course. She said that she was raped, and then also with her saying that she's been raped, she's saying that she wants to abort the baby. But all of those are just accusations, and it seemed like with this whole case that was going on, it seemed like this is another episode of the Emmett Till case where there's a man that was allegedly did something and made accusations against, and you already know what the outcome happened with the Emmett Till case where this brother lost his life because of a lie that was told. Well, with the Roe versus Wade case, she admitted that she lied, and that was the when she made that allegations, it had some ramifications behind it. So, with all that being said, gentlemen, with the overturning of the Roe versus Wade case, and educate Queen when you get back, how do you guys feel about the whole Roe versus Wade overturning?
I think that it's I think it's a woman's choice to. I don't think that's the government's duty to determine or tell anybody you should give birth, you shouldn't give birth, right? And I understand there are people who will say, all right, children should be allowed to be born, all that kind of stuff. I get that, uh, but for the government to step in and say, "Hey, you can't do it," I don't think I think that's overreach. You let your conscience be your own guide, your own moral compass. I don't think a bunch of old men should sit around in a room and, and tell women what you can and can't, should and shouldn't be able to do with their own body, especially when it comes to cases of rape, incest, health, where, I mean, clearly it could kill the mother even attempting to have these kids, under circumstances of rape, and they're not allowed to terminate a pregnancy. Whether you do or don't, that's a personal decision. I just don't think the United States government should tell women you can't do it, or can do it. So I think it's government overreach. If we talk about the circumstances of Roe v. Wade, Jane Roe, as you pointed out, and if I understand it correctly, I could be wrong, that she falsely accused the black guy of raping her. And anyway, that's a whole other subject. But just sticking to the case itself, I don't believe the government has the right to tell a woman you can and can't, have a pregnancy or can't terminate a pregnancy if she so chooses. So I definitely think it's government overreach.
I disagree. And I'll tell you, I used to agree. I used to agree 100%. And even though we got to this point under suspect reasoning because we know that she lied because she got common sense. She know they wasn't gonna let her abort that white baby, but if she say I got raped by a black man, she knew that would give her leverage, which she later admitted. However, I think we in a place right now where somebody's got to do something, and and you brought up some very good points about rape, incest, and things, but here's what the numbers say: less than 1% of abortions are due to rape or incest, right? Um, and but I did do, and this is from the CDC. This is the reasons why women listed that they openly listed for having an abortion. 74% because having a baby would dramatically change my life. 73% also said I can't afford a baby right now. 48% said I don't want to be a single mother or they're having issues with the father of the child. 38% already had their kids. They wasn't planning on having any more kids, but it happened. 1% are victims of rape, and less than 0.5% are due to incest. Now, the one number that we don't have is fetal abnormalities because there hasn't been enough data on it yet. However, we do know that there used to be roughly 9,000 babies born a year, which is like one out of every 600 ish that either had Down syndrome or some other type of abnormality. Well, after the advent of PGS testing and all these other tests they have, that's dropped 30% down to 6,000. So that still doesn't tell us how many babies are aborted for that reason, but just in total, period, an average of one out of every 700 babies is born with Down syndrome or some other type of life challenging abnormality. So if you look at it from that perspective, I would assume that that number is also infinitely low, probably a percent or less. So what that tells me is a lot of women just out here making bad decisions and just want a scapegoat. So that's why my opinion over the years has kind of changed on that. And also, too, the fathers have to have some say. Like, I get it that the woman carries a baby. Like, somebody's got to carry the baby. Like, it's not our fault. You got to take that up with God. He chose y'all to be the special ones to do that. And that does make women special, very special to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, it still takes two to tango. And that child is also a product of the father. And I think the father should have some say, at least to a degree. And my solution is, and I don't know, maybe Congress can work on this and try to get the particulars, but just in base mode, I think this is what should happen. I think whenever you buy contraceptives or Plan B, especially Plan B or anything like that, I think it should be tracked and there should be a follow up. Any woman that reports that come to find out she's pregnant, there should be immediately a mediation, a counseling. I don't want to say mediation, but immediately a counseling should be set up with the mother and the father, if the father is known as much as he can be known. But there should be some kind of counseling and say, okay, hey, where do you want to go? How do we proceed? And there needs to be some help, because that's the other thing too. The reason a lot of these women are making these decisions is because they don't have any counseling, they don't have a lot of knowledge, and they're just looking. And I'm not blaming, but it is what it is. You're really just kind of looking for the easy way out because now you don't know what to do. And I just think is we've gotten to this point because of that, because women have been allowed to just say, okay, I done been reckless or whatever. I let him smash. I didn't make sure he wore a condom. I didn't wear birth control. Now I'm pregnant. I don't want no baby by this dude. So I'm about to go take care of this. Like that's not really fair in my mind. And I think if we put more restrictions, it's going to make people make better decisions. People are going to start thinking, men, also men and women, men going to start thinking a lot more because let's not forget that too. We can't forget that side of it because a lot of these abortions, I wouldn't say half, but I would definitely say a considerable amount are the men pressuring the women to have the abortion. They're like, hey, wait, hold on, we got to do something about this. I don't want this baby. So we can't leave that out as well. We can't leave the men off the hook as well. So, but I think overall it's going to make people think a little bit deeper before they start just laying down with just any old body and taking that chance. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion.
I agree. Who's you weirdo? And he's right. Those numbers are significantly low. When you have birth control, condoms, you name it, there are things in place already that women and men can use to prevent trips to the abortion clinic. It to me, it's just an excuse. I mean, hey, the rest of us took it, did what we had to do, make sure we take care of ours. What's wrong with you? We all know the consequence of having sex prematurely, whether it's before marriage. Hey, we know if it takes a man or woman to have sex or procreate, but we know that risk when we lay down with that woman. And we know 9 times out of 10, if we can get pregnant, hey, a baby's gonna come. So there are things already in place that men and women can do to prevent these trips to the abortion clinic. Also, what these doctors don't tell women is the more of these abortions you have later on in life, you decide to get married, you and your husband trying to have a baby, it's hard or almost impossible because of all that you've sent your body through. And now you looking long face because your husband is trying to figure out, oh, well, is it me? Is it something, genetically or physically or whatever wrong with me? When in fact, you've messed up your body having these abortions. And I know friends of mine now get pregnant by their husbands and they can't. And they'll come up with these doctors don't want. But hey, if you on your third abortion, boo boo, that's not a mistake. That's like you said, that's bad decision making. You knew what you were doing, and I'm not down in the sisters for or whatever. But hey, sometimes we got to take ownership of our own choice. Hey, I know right now if I go lay down with a man, I can get pregnant, and it's just not fair. You're not giving that child a chance. I don't care what doctors say. I don't care what science say. I believe in what the good Lord say. Once that baby is in that womb, that's a human being. That human has a life because it's just like a seed. If you put it in the ground, you water it, it's growing underneath the surface, just like it's growing in the mother's womb. If it has a heartbeat, it's a human. But I'm gonna get off of that because this is a touchy subject for me. It kind of makes me mad because it's like we make these excuses as to keep running to the abortion clinic when we don't even know what we could be birthing. Even if the baby did come from rape or incest, I know that's hard. I know that's a sensitive spot for some people, but we just got to be mindful of the choices we make.
Well, I'm agree with Bourgeois as well with B Dub, and here's my reason why because I'm looking at it from a more a biblical standpoint because abortion is not that's not normal. That's not God can intend for it to be that way, and I don't. I'm not going to go off on a tangent on that and whatnot because I just won't touch that. I won't go there again. It's that God can create that for a woman to be able to carry a child. Again, next thing you find a way to abort something that's living inside you. Whatnot, that's abnormal, and it's not going to work like that. But here's what I want to do. I want to take it to another level. I want to take another spin. When did we uh, who was responsible for saying that having kids is not the thing to do because a long time ago with our great grandparents that's what we did. We had a lot of kids. We even had a lot of kids. And I'm gonna take it back a little further than that. We had a lot of kids when it came to slavery or whatnot. And when we go into slavery, I mean, the slave masters, that's what they wanted you to do. They want you to have a lot of kids because number one, it benefited them. It benefited them from the get go. It benefited them. The slave owners made money. They made money off of having kids, more kids, and they also made money by selling kids as well. And now all of a sudden, since we are free, and since we're no longer on the plantation anymore, now having three, four, five kids, it's now it's a problem. It's a problem now because you're not benefiting from it. If that make any sense.
Well, on the flip side of that,
Let me
Mr.
say that.
Know-it-all. Oh, go ahead.
Now go ahead.
On the flip side of that, you also have those slave masters who raped women, and they didn't want to look like the bad guy in their community, or especially if they were, well-to-do men. So they made those women abort those babies, and those women experienced painful experiences with abortions. It wasn't as technology wasn't as advanced as it is today. So that goes way back. Abortion goes way back. I actually kind of did a little research on it, but yeah, when they raped those women, and they didn't, just didn't want their wives finding out, or want their friends or their business partners to find out, and they didn't want to look like the villain, or look, they were frowned upon for sleeping with a woman of color.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is 2 points. Going back to what B Dub said, reversing Roe v. Wade did not give men any more rights. So while I agree with you that men should have some say so in this, that Roe v. Wade did not do anything for that. All right, that's the first point. The second point I want to touch on is the selected religion that some of y'all have, right? Okay, abortion is wrong, granted, but so are the other 100 things that y'all out here doing. But it's funny how y'all like to cherry pick on what y'all want to hold up to the Bible. Oh, this is wrong. What about the 30 other things that y'all do? We ain't gonna touch on that though. We're gonna touch on just abortion, right? Abortions are gonna happen. They happened before clinics were given them, coat hangers, other cruel methods that they did. You're not gonna stop abortion just by Roe v. Wade or whatever. It's still gonna happen. And another thing, okay, so if she decided she didn't want to, she made a mistake, or she was raped, I would say this: if that was your child, your significant other, walking down the alley, got raped by who God knows who, you're gonna say, yeah, go ahead and have that baby. Who's gonna raise that baby? You? No, you're not. You're not gonna raise that baby, right? And if we're gonna be honest and take all the fluff out of it, if my daughter was raped and was pregnant, no, it's her choice. I say it's her choice. I'm not saying whether abortion is right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not a man's place to sit there and tell that woman
You're not
what
going to
she
raise
should
that baby.
and shouldn't do in that situation, right? And all the reasons you listed, Roe v. Wade is not going to negate none of that. They still going to be out here making bad decisions. I agree we need to make better decisions when it comes to who we lay up with, right? But we all know when we have sex with somebody, we know there's a possibility that a pregnancy can happen. That doesn't mean every time we go into a sexual, I mean, that's kind of natural. Oh, it's going to be a baby born and you just got to deal with it. No. And where does it start? You're going to go down a slippery slope when you talk about tracking Plan B pills, right? Tracking Plan B pills. Now we're going to track when they get the whatever, any type of contraceptive, we're going to start tracking condoms, right? There is a point where the government should not infringe upon that part of your life, right? That's just my opinion. I'm not saying abortion is right or wrong. All I'm saying is I don't have the right to tell a woman whether or not she could do that. And again, it does not give a man any more rights to that pregnancy. Even when Roe v. Wade was in play, now it's reversed. Nothing changed from you and my rights to tell that woman whether she can have that child or not. You go out and get a woman pregnant today, she can still keep that baby whether you want it or not. or she can still go to some place and still have an abortion, whether you want it or not. Roe v. Wade did nothing for that. So while I agree that we do need to make better decisions, I don't feel the federal government should say, "Hey, woman, you enough of that. Stop policing women's bodies. Let them do what they want. Let their own conscience be their God." I mean, we talk from a place of religion. What if she's not religious, right?
Facts.
When
Facts.
does
Okay.
the separation of this and this supposed to happen? We talk because, oh, okay, y'all good religious people, cool, not knocking that, but everybody don't have y'all's moral compass, and the government certainly can't tell anybody whose compass is right because theirs is definitely not right. But anyway, I'll sit down on that.
Well, I'll just speak. So for me, it's not so much about religious because, like I think I mentioned it last week. You know, I'm not the churchiest of people. I don't really trust white Jesus anyway. So, but I am a spiritual person. But I'm just saying from a responsibility factor, like so, and I'm not opposed to having concessions, right? Because you're correct. Right? That's something that's hard to just say. Okay, let's proceed with this, and things of that nature. Or if it's a medical issue that could harm the mother, I get all that, and I'm not opposed to making concessions for those, especially since those situations seem to be extremely low. It would be easy to make concessions for those, but what I'm thinking, what I'm wondering is how do we, because like you said, everybody got to use their own good reasoning, but clearly nobody's doing that. So at some point, there's got to be somebody to step in, and I'm not saying it's just men, period. Like men, we just tell women what to do. No, I'm not saying that. But at some point, somebody's got to step in and say, okay, we got to figure out a better way. And that somebody theoretically is supposed to be our government because that's supposed to be their job is to work for us and do what's in our best interest. Now I know, I got you, I'm with you, I understand. But what I'm saying is something's got to happen. There's got to be a line drawn somewhere, and that's why I'm all for counseling. If a woman or let's just say this: if a woman going to get an abortion, the first question should be asked: have you talked with the father about this, and have you talked to a therapist? I think that should be the first two questions, and I think that should happen first before anybody get an abortion. First of all, we need to understand why do you want it. What is the mental state of the mother? I don't care. It could be a female therapist. I don't care who it is, but I just think something needs to happen to where there's more thought put into this process. And like you said, like we all said, people know that the only 100% perfect birth control is abstinence. We understand that. I
I
don't
agree.
care what you use. You can put 2 condoms, 3 condoms. You can take 5 birth control pills. Nothing is 100%. So you have to know that a possibility is there. So people need to start, women and men, this is on everybody. Before you go get that room or before you invite them to your house, you need to have a conversation with yourself and say, okay, what if? Is this the type of woman I want to have a baby with? Can I deal with having a baby with this woman? Or is this the type of man I want to have a baby with? And if people are really being honest with themselves, a lot of the times the answer is going to be no, and you're going to make a different decision. Now, I'm not saying that everybody got to run around and be abstinent. That's not what I'm saying. No, you got to live life, but you have to understand the chances that you take. And I think if people put more thought into it, they would be making better decisions on sexual partners, number one, which would lead to less abortions anyway, because you'll be having babies with people that you want to have babies with, and it would just work out better. Now, maybe I'm just fantasizing and being totally delusional. That's fine. And I'm not saying that we have the right to just tell women what to do. But what I am saying is somebody's got to do something at some point because it's just getting out of hand. That's just it's just crazy. And if you look at the numbers and the reasons why these women, and they're self-reporting. These are numbers from the CDC and from Planned Parenthood. These are the reasons that women are giving, and they're not good reasons. Let's just be real. They're not good reasons. So,
Okay. Look at it like this. I mean, I stand on what I believe. I'm not here to debate that. But what I am here to help all of us understand, Margaret Sanger had a mission. And her mission was to cancel out a race of people. And so for every black woman, in my opinion, that go in there and have an abortion, rape, incest, or not, you're carrying out that mission of Margaret Sanger. See, most of our people don't know Margaret Sanger and the mission that Margaret with the whole Planned Parenthood. That's why Planned Parenthood resonated in our neighborhoods. That's why you never saw Planned Parenthood in Highland Park or in those nicer neighborhoods. So we have to educate ourselves on, first of all, abortion, the effects it can have not only on just our bodies, our race of people, because we're eliminating the black race one by one for every black baby that's aborted. Now, whether you're religious or not, look at it from that standpoint. And if you do that, if for every black baby that's being aborted, Margaret Sanger gets a check mark. That's how I see it. And in the eyes of good Lord, that God, that's what I believe in. I don't care what y'all believe in. That's what I believe in. It's wrong. Period.
Ray ain't white
And
Jesus.
no, it ain't white Jesus. It's God. It's black God to me. Because that's what I don't worship. No, I ain't never had no picture of no white Jesus in my house, and I'm not going to. I
white
don't worship a white
Jesus.
Jesus. Hey, Jesus might be a sister. We never know. We never know. But I'm just saying.
Listen,
Let's
so
take it back. Hold on. Let's take it back. Too many of our women, ancestors, were raped and beaten and forced to have abortion. Now you have a choice where you're not forced unless you're raped. And like Bougie Widow said, those numbers are very low. Very low. We got to stop making excuses for for us. We got to hold each other accountable. And one way to hold each other accountable is ask these questions, have these conversations, look at both sides of the spectrum. Because it's easy to go out there and keep eliminating babies. But at some point, when are you going to own up to what you're doing wrong? Sister, brother, you giving these people, you playing right into the hands of the very people that want to see this race eliminated. If you think I'm lying, go do the research and we can have a conversation about it.
okay, so we got some comments. We got some comments. We'll read these comments, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Barbara Sim said, "What's good? What's up, good people?" Derek Nathan said, "Good evening, my people." Monique Smith says, "Hey, y'all." Angela Denise says, "Once the baby has a heartbeat, it is a life. The heart start beating at about 5.5 weeks." Barbara Sim says, "Good evening, Derek." Barbara Sim says, "Hey, Monique." Derek Nathan says, "We have to make better decisions, talking from experience, but no regrets." How Miss Slim. And then it says, Barbara Sim says, "The choices you make are lifelong." So all the comments that I've been basically responsible when you decide to have unprotected sex. So that way you won't have to be in the spot to even bring up the word abortion, because abortion, that is a very very touchy subject, and also it puts it puts that woman and the father as well. They can definitely get triggered emotionally as well. So you have to be responsible when you're going about it in that direction there. Um, so with the Roe versus Wade case, with it being overturned, do anybody have an issue with it being overturned? Because me personally, I don't have no issue with it being overturned. I'm good with it. But I do agree with everybody on the panel here, and of course with the people that's on making the comments that's tuning in, saying that you have to be responsible when it comes to having unprotected sex, especially nowadays. But at the same time, I'm also very aware that we have to be cognitive of where we get our information from and who we listen to as well, because you listen to social media plays a big part of our decisions that we make throughout life. And social media, there's some people on social media that tell you, hey, if you have 1, 2, 3 kids or whatnot, then you're the scum of the earth or whatever. Just there's nothing positive that comes from it. From what I've seen, and like I said, you have to definitely be careful on who you listen to, because my a guy right now, a real close friend of mine, his son, he's married. They have like 3 sets of twins, and they have like 2 or 3 other kids as well. So he has like a total of 7, 8 kids. This guy's touching 35, 36 years old. But him and his wife, they wanted a lot of kids, and they said, we want, as long as I'm taking care of these kids, who's to say, how many kids I can or can't have? It's my prerogative that that I'm having these kids, as long as I'm taking care of them. So I have no problem with that at all. As long as you take care of them, hey, kids are a beautiful thing. Kids are a blessing.
Mr. Noah,
that's how I look at it. Yeah.
I want to add something to this. I think it was last week or the week before. B-Dub shed some light on the main reason why Roe versus Wade was overturned. And he shared with us that they overturned this court case because Caucasian women, more and more Caucasian women started having abortions. And so to keep them from eliminating the Caucasian race, they overturned this court case. And if you do the research, the numbers you'll see the numbers. But why come, we can say, okay, we can that, but why are we not just as excited? It should have been overturned for African American women.
Right.
So we have to.
First of all, EQ, that was me who pointed out the fact that it was because.
I'm sorry. I stand correct.
The second point, I take the stance of Dave Chappelle when he said it depends on who I get pregnant, right? I didn't care whether Roe versus Wade was there or not. And we do need to make better decisions. All I'm saying is it ain't my place to tell a woman what to do with her body. That's it. But like you said, I do understand that they did this because there was a lot of non-black babies being affected by abortion. There's always an underlining reason for anything the federal government does. So as long as we approach any situation like, come on, it was nothing to benefit us. Let's be clear. The federal government is never, ever, 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 ever going to do anything to benefit black people. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Facts, because if you look at the numbers, black abortions has gone down, and yes, white abortions has gone up drastically, and that's why it suddenly became an issue. So it's just kind of like casualty of war, Okay, we're gonna allow these few more black babies to be born because in the totality we're gonna have this many more white babies born. So yeah.
Right, absolutely. So I agree. Again, like I said, I have no problem with it being overturned at all, and I agree with the panel here saying that there is an underlying agenda, and we definitely are aware of that as well. Reading the comment, Monique Smith says, "I have no problem with it. If you want to do that and you die trying to take a life, that is a choice you made. Not the one you planned, but still a life." That came from Monique Smith. Appreciate you for the comments, Monique Smith. Moving forward, we're going to talk about the second topic, okay? All right? The second topic is the masculine man moving out of the house. Bye bye, masculine men. Let's talk about it, you guys. Hold on.
Ooh. Y'all go ahead, Phil. Let the Lord use y'all today. Hey.
I wanna talk about it.
So the masculine men being taken out of the house. We talked about this last week. We expanded on it just a little bit, but we didn't get into detail about the particular topic because of because of time restraints that we talked about it last week. So today, you know, my question to you guys is this: what is the number one reason? Well, how do you guys feel about the man is being outside of the house? Because I know for a fact everybody here, especially when we had our, especially when we had our meeting, this was a pretty animated topic here, and everybody had a whole lot to say about it. So, and I know for a fact you're gonna definitely bring the thunder with your questions and answers with this one. So, what's going on, fellas, ladies and gentlemen? And people in the comment section, if you guys will comment about it as well, definitely add your comments.
Well, to kind of touch on the dovetail the last conversation, there was a concerted strategic effort to remove black men from households. What time was that? That was what, the 60s, 50s, 60s, somewhere in there. Question is, how did they do it? Well, they gave an option. You want these entitlements, you can have them, but that man can't be in that house, right? And, you know, unfortunately, the bait was taken by far too many of us. President, I mean, it's always been a concerted effort to take the black man out, and we are seeing the ramifications of that today, right? Anytime you take the man out of the household, the family structure suffers. That shows that we all understand that. So again, another concerted effort to damage our community, and it has worked far too well. And this is where we at now. We ask, wow, how did we get to a place? This was a big part of it.
Way of having an abortion, killing operation to abort.
You're breaking up, EQ.
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
I just said that's another way of having an abortion, aborting a race of people.
We moved on from that topic. We moved on.
Same concept. But I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna let you down. Let you make it tonight. Be done. What say ye?
No, I mean, gentleman Jamal hit it right on the head, but also too, we got to take it back even a step further, because how did that even work? Because the black family unit was strong. It was more than just offering some benefits. There was a plan before the plan, which was to, like I talked about last week, turn men into a dollar sign. Because the father, the men in the family household is so much more than what he financially provides. But we started to minimize that and bring it down to simply a dollar amount. So now this is all you good for. So now you convince these men to go off to war in the 50s and 60s. We sent a lot of them to war. A lot of them died. They got hooked on drugs. They came back with PTSD and all messed up. Then you got COINTELPRO. Well, actually, that wasn't until the 80s. Even before that, you got Redline, and you have all of these tools and strategies they put in place to make it hard for the black man to provide. Because let's be clear, we saying taking the masculine men out of the household, but we really talking about masculine black men, because we're not seeing the issue in other cultures. Our culture is the one that's being targeted. So you go through all of these processes to make it super hard for black men to be able to provide. Now you come in with the benefit to say, hey, you can struggle with this dude, working a couple hours a week, odd jobs, and barely, or you can get rid of him, and we'll give you this over here, and y'all could be good. And
So
so, yeah, you're absolutely right. That was that, but I think that was the second part of the plan, right? So
so
now you look at it, um, and then in the '70s, look at we talking about what we really talking about. We talking about men between the ages of 25 and 45. Who are these men? They are the product of the single mothers of the '70s and '80s and early '90s, who were the pilgrims of this or that welfare. Love your broke ass man. A lot of women chose welfare. So now you got a lot. So that was the first even start of it. So taking the men out, that was step one. Take all the masculine men out. Now, why we don't have them now in today's time? Because they're harder to find. Because so many of these men now that these men that would be the leaders of these households, they have no manly skills. They don't even know how to tap into their masculinity because all they know is what their mama taught them. And listen, people can feel how they want to feel. I know some women gonna put your steel toe boots on because I'm gonna step on some toes. You cannot raise your son to be a man. I'm sorry. I hate to be the one to tell you this. I don't care what you think you're doing, you're not doing it. Whatever you think you're doing, you're not doing it. So you have so many men. I see. Listen, I see it all the time. I get these young men coming to my job, just lost, just so emotional, all up in their feelings. Don't have just basic masculine frame. Don't even know how to carry themselves. So I do, and this is I guess it works for me because me being the person I am, mentoring is kind of like my thing. So I get a ton of practice. I get a ton of practice because I get them all day long that just come in, just, if you ain't know no better, you think you was talking to a woman.
What you gonna say, Jennifer? You say something?
Hey, I'm just saying.
Okay, so with this feminizing men or whatever, it also keeps the women dependent upon the system, really not even helping them or not even beneficial to them. Because now you're settling. Now and then you pass that on to your children to settle. You teach our daughters to settle for a system that was designed to keep the brothers away. See, now it breaks up the whole institution of family. Okay, again, we okay, if the man in the house, it goes back to that procreation piece. We can't continue to raise. I'm sorry, but it's gonna all point back to that. So if I can take the man out the house, the woman is dependent upon the system. She has to be a single mom. Okay, she probably doesn't have much of an education or background to make a decent earning a wage to take care of those children. Kids are gonna grow up and choose their own path. Some probably gonna go out, do drugs, join gangs, whatever, or following the path of the father. That's why those drugs and stuff are put in our neighborhoods to get our on them. Why? Because if I can get you hooked on those drugs, eventually you're gonna die, or you're gonna fall into another system. See, it's all these systems, and these systems have been created for years, but we still keep falling prey to these systems. When are we gonna wake up? It's like Gentleman Jamal said earlier. These alphabet people, they don't care about us. They don't. They've never had our best interests at heart. We gotta wake up. We gotta take our eyes off the stuff and realize and value what's most important. That's the black mother, the black father, the black children in the black home. We have to go back to being the people that we were created to be. We have to go back to being those people that our ancestors were. How they took care of each other, how that village took care of that, how those men went out to work and those women took care of the home. We got to get that back and stop falling prey to all these systems that are leading us to dead end and giving us false hope and giving our children.
And you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy? We live in a day and time where we can actually beat the system if we just simply came back together.
Yeah, we can. I agree with that. We can't do the system, and I'm just like I agree with everybody as well. It is definitely important for that masculine man to be in, because again, once you remove that man, that goes to protection, that goes to very intricate piece of the household. That's definitely gone and done away with. 1,000%. But there's, what? I can definitely speak on the importance of it is because, to have a masculine man inside the house without, because I grew up, that my father had given to me and my brothers. I'm got 4 boys. So, had it not been for my father being inside their household with us, raising 4 boys, my mother, no way in the world can't be able to try to growing to be grown men. She's not going to be able to handle 4 boys like that. So you need that masculine energy to be that, to do some discipline and respect. You need your jaws kicked in. You need your jaws kicked in. You know what I mean? So all that comes with it. So I know exactly what the energy is about it. I saw this was last week. This mess is up, of course, because of the conversation we had but over the weekend, I was watching a Lifetime film about. You ever seen a Lifetime film with Janet Jackson? Anybody? No. It's a Lifetime documentary. Well, anyway, it goes back to her father and how the father was able to be in the household and her reason the kids. I think it was like a total of 8 or 9 of them, something like that. Living inside the small 2-bed. But Joe, their father. I mean, although all of them had said how poor that man was, and how not been inside their household with all of those kids, ain't no telling what that family what ended up. Everything that was going on with Joe, but I remember back in the 80s and the 90s when Michael Jackson had did that interview with was it NBC? Was it what's her name? Diane Sawyer? Is that her name? Diane Sawyer? Diane Sawyer? Well, when Mike with Diane Sawyer, they asked him about his father. Again, he just went out, he got emotional, started crying, and said that, hey, my father do X, Y, Z, and they took that and ran with it, saying that, hey, Joe Jackson is this boy up and X, Y, Z and whatnot, and he's heavy-handed with the punishment and whatnot. How we do in our families, we have our fathers, but they visited us like that. So that's because if they don't, and we don't have no correction, we don't have somebody else that's going to come into that to your life, maybe the police, or somebody's going to get that correction out of you. So it's very important to have the masculine man inside that house.
Well, I want to say one thing, Mr. Know-It-All. I don't want you to blame your father for how you turned out. You can't blame him.
No, man. Hey, my old man, he's one of those. Yeah, he was a man, and but I thank him all the time for. I thank him all the time for being disciplined on us, because like I said, had it not been for him, my mother couldn't handle no 4 boys like that. It just it was like about 4 boys coming up trying to find a young, it ain't gonna happen. Yeah, I agree with saying about the masculine man, inside the house, because again, it's like the government. Yeah, they are definitely towards us, and they do not want that family, to be, priority. Say it again.
I was saying, what the comments looking like? Let's talk to the
comment section. It says Jamal. And as Denise says, a lot of young women that I know don't think it is important to have male presence. I'm the mama and the daddy. Ooh, and that's a good comment there as well because you get a lot of parents, a lot of mothers, single mothers say, "I am the mama." Well, how can you can't play both parts? I'm the mama and I'm the daddy. It don't work that way, right?
Now, sis, you just a mama. You're not the daddy, boo boo. That ain't what you were created to be.
Nathan says, I really believe it's the choice we all make as we mature. I'm raised to be a man, but hey, yes, I had a strong black without a man involved. So they're saying that his mother raised him, uh, he was a strong black woman that took care of him. And you know what, there, I sure appreciate the comment, and we thank you for coming on the show. But yeah, but we still, we're not knocking the single women out there at all, but we're just reflecting and giving our take is for the man to actually be inside the house because it's very important. Because again, once you take that man out of the house, man, for big time as well. Anybody got any questions they want to ask me?
Mr. Know It All, I want to add something to this, and I want to speak to my sisters out here. All right, you can agree with me, you can disagree, but I just want to spit some straight facts. Is first and foremost, you are not created to be a man. You're not a man, and you're not the mother and the father, sis. That's not your role. Your role is the mother. And let me just go a step further to let us know. And this goes for me too. One of the consequences of making of the choices we make is having to raise children by ourselves. See, this is what happens when we don't hold men accountable, or we don't get married, and we have children out of wedlock, or without a man that's not willing to make a commitment. See, the consequence is you got to be that single mom. Now you bitter, you mad, you upset for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, you chose that man. You chose to lay down. You chose to let him impregnate you, whether he stayed or whether he left. Sis, your role is to be the mother, to nurture and to care for that baby. His job is to help you. Now, if he left and he didn't help you, whether you ran him off or he left on his own, you are not that child's father. Stop. This is what's confusing our children because you trying to play both roles, sis. The higher power that y'all claim y'all believe in, or the most high, whatever. Look, you there's a reason why you got a girl part. All right, there's a reason why you got breasts, so you can nurture that baby. Men can't do for our children what we can. Okay, sis, I'm sorry, you can't teach that baby how to be that young man how to be a man. You can't do it. You can show him everything you think of, and Lord forbid you bring in somebody in his life who tries to look the part of a man but got the same body parts as you. Now you're creating more and more confusion. So I'm just being honest. We got to think about what we do. I will tell you from my own personal experience. Okay, my daughter, no, I'm not her father. I chose her dad, and I'm not here to bash him. He's not the best father, but guess what? I teach her you love him, and you gonna respect him. Now, when she get grown and she want to detach herself from him, that's on her. But my job, no matter how much he make me mad or whatever, that was still my choice. And honey, was something in them 30 seconds that I liked. And as a result, I got a baby. So, hey, you see what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm just
Come
being
on, how you
honest.
gonna do, bro? Like,
I didn't say no names. I ain't say no names. So if y'all over there if y'all being nosy, putting two and two together, that's y'all problem. But I'm just saying, sis, it was something you loved about him. So suck it up, Buttercup. Join the rest of us single moms. Hey, put your big girl panties on and do what you gotta do. It's hard, yes. We gotta make sacrifices. Yeah, some of these brothers don't want to help us take care of these children. That's why we need each other. That's why we need that village. That's why we need family. We need each other. But we also have to be
hey,
encouraging to our brothers and show them love because they already got so many strikes on their back, sis. So you
Amen.
gotta cut all this foolishness out. You're not built to be a man, sis. Cut it out. Now I love you. Don't be
Hey,
inboxing me either.
but here's the thing though. First of all, shout out to D Nate and listen. We talk about unicorns all the time. You got unicorns, you got horses. Horses are the norm that we see every day. Unicorns are them outliers. And you do have those mothers out there that, somehow, some way manage to do it. They manage to do it. They manage to raise, good, strong, masculine men by themselves. But if we being honest, those are the outliers. Those are the exceptions, not the rule. And to just double down on what EQ said, and then I even take it a step further. Well, first of all, let me say this. Women got to stop letting men off the hook. See, y'all be so in y'all feelings and trying to use the kid and keep him away. No, you need to be doing the opposite. Regardless of what the relationship is like, regardless of what he's like. Like I said last week, shout out to my mom, because I didn't grow up in a single parent household. I grew up in a single income household. Because first things first, I'm a young man. So whenever I did young men things or had young men questions, the first thing out of my mouth was call you dad. Ask him, tell him. Or, there was a few, not everybody, but there was a few men in the community that she respected, that she would guide me toward them. So even if it wasn't my father, because sometimes, when you're a kid, you don't really always understand. So sometimes I ain't want to call my dad because of whatever reason. But I had my little league coach. I had my best friend's dad. I had a couple of teachers that she respected and was like, okay, go talk to Mr. So-and-so or talk to him. Now, granted, she gonna give me her opinion, of course. She gonna, mama gonna always tell you how she feel about it. But she also encouraged me to call your uncle. Call your uncle, see what he say. Talk to him about this and about that. So the most important thing, the ideal thing is the father. But the most important thing is a male role model, period.
Right.
And more than just one. Like, these women got to stop trying to do it on their own. You don't have to. You don't have to do it on your own. You shouldn't have to do it on your own. And even if the dad, let's say the dad is a certified deadbeat. He's just one of the ones, because we already know half the women that claim they baby dads is deadbeats is not really deadbeats. Is stuff that they doing that's instigating these situations. But let's talk about the ones who really are truly deadbeats, don't do nothing out there. Okay, cool. Who else are you putting your children in front of? And I say children because men are important for women too. For these little girls to see a good example. How they supposed to go and pick a good man if you ain't never showed them no example of what a good man is? Even if you can't get one, you know some. Even if you can't get one yourself, you know a good man somewhere. And you need to put your child, your son or your daughter in front of that man and make sure he gets time with them so that they see something. So they can learn. Because a lot of times, and with men and Jim and Jamal, y'all, Mr. Know-It-All, y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong. A lot of times, fathers don't get appreciated until you get grown. Because as young boys, we're going to test the waters, we're going to do all this kind of stuff. And it may seem like the father is not important, and it may seem like we're not paying attention. But then as soon as we come grown, all you hear is men say, man, my dad really taught me. My dad, I learned this from my dad. Because we're listening, we're watching. That's the important thing too. It's not just what you say to your child, it's what they see. So if they don't see it, how can they emulate it or learn it or do it? And you are a woman. And this is not an indictment on single mothers, I promise you, but you have to understand that it is not your sole responsibility, and you should not be trying to do it on your own, because you as a woman cannot model manhood for your son. I don't care what you tell him. I don't care what you do. If he don't have that model in front of him on a regular basis, he's not going to learn it, with the exception of the unicorns like Mrs. Nathan and there's others out there. Okay, yeah, that's going to happen every now and again, but that is not the norm. You have to put your child, particularly your son, in front of some good quality men and make sure that they have a relationship with these men so that they can learn how to be a good man. Period.
Like B Dub said, I like when he said, I'm not from a single income house, so I'm not from a single. Because a lot of times the father isn't there, but he's there, even though he's not there day to day physically. A lot of y'all can still call on these men that y'all say are not there. And again, I can raise. You can give me a female child, and I can raise her to an adult age, but I cannot teach her how to be a woman because I don't know how to be a woman, right? So just because you raised a boy until he's of a man's age or a man's maturity level doesn't mean he's a father, right? And sometimes, a lot of times, as EQ said, it does take a village. And sometimes it is a teacher. Sometimes it is the coach. Sometimes it is an uncle. Sometimes it's, another trusted male that kind of guides these boys to where they can still succeed. So it does take a village, and you do need each other. So that was a good point, BJ.
Derek Nathan, we're going to comment. Nathan said that you have some women that won't allow a man to be a man in the household. To be when they have a man being a man. No, she's speaking to Derek Nathan about that. And yes, I definitely concur with everything. Am I coming in loud and clear? Am I too loud or what? Can you guys hear me? But some visual technical difficulties here. Monique also says we have to know when to step back, like Pam said. It's but when there's nothing like that male testosterone there inside the household, whatever, because that man in the household, man, he can teach that young man some very, very, very valuable lessons. We're talking about lessons that where it's just there's certain small mind a man just have that he can make a very, very on that particular young man as well. I came from a household, and I'm just talking about my father was the breadwinner. He was the different inside the house, and he taught me some ethics that my mother could not have even fathomed of doing when it came to raising just to see my father have two, three different jobs, full-time job, and making see him doing that. That was a life lesson to me, just to see Nelson and Russell during those times. And we're talking about the early '80s, mid '80s, just to see like that and things happen. Man, it, that I would never learn. But so I learned a whole lot, at young age. So Monique says, okay, well, we have some technical issues on our end over here, but it's not. EQ, I think EQ has left, so I think she probably had technical difficulties on her end as well. So B-Dub, so you said that you were raised up in single parent home, is that correct? B-Dub?
Right.
Single income.
Right.
Single income home.
Single income.
Okay, single income home. Okay.
Right. Because I never felt like my dad wasn't there because he was always a phone call away. You understand what I'm saying? And also too, I want to throw this on there too. Women gotta stop. Like how I want to say this because I don't want to feel like I'm trying not to make it like I'm just talking about women, but it's just a reality that we deal with sometimes because of the hurt, which I understand. Like you gotta know that there's an understanding of hurt, especially when relationships don't work. And we know a lot of guys make promises and they don't hold to their promises. So I get that part. But you have to find it in you somewhere to allow that child to have that relationship with their father and not be the just talking bad about it. Because I'll use my own personal situation. My father was a very charismatic, handsome man that liked women. You know, I got everything that you could think of. I got adopted siblings, I got half siblings, I got step siblings, the whole spectrum, right? And my dad is on his third marriage. Well, apparently third time was the charm, because him and my bonus mom, I don't call her my stepmom because we just got love like that, but him and my bonus mom, they've been going 35 plus years strong. And that's where I learned the most of how to be a husband and what a marriage is supposed to look like by watching them. But also, too, my mother never, ever said a negative thing about my father. My father never, ever said anything negative about my mother in my whole entire life. So now imagine if I'm a kid, I'm 5, 6 years old. I think I was around 5 or 6 when my parents separated, and my father, he met and remarried pretty quickly, right? So imagine if I'd heard all the stories of who he was and how he was before he met my stepmom. Imagine if I'd heard, all the bad stuff and the negative that went on. I probably wouldn't have a relationship with my father. So then what does that do? Now I'm feeling some type of way because I don't have a relationship with my dad. That could have impacted the relationships I had with other men in my life because I might have rejected them. Because I want, you have dad issues basically. Like, well, why my dad? So I never heard those stories until I was an adult. And even then, there's a lot of stuff I probably still don't know, but I got common sense. I got older. I realized that I got a brother and we only a couple of months apart. So, I can figure some stuff out. But I didn't get that stuff until I was much, much older and able to process it and understand it. So growing up, all I knew my dad and my mom, their relationship didn't work. Okay, cool. Nobody ever said nothing bad about it. My bonus mom was a great woman. She treated me just how she treat her own blood children. So it was everything was good. He just wasn't in the household. So I never felt like he wasn't there. He just didn't live with us. So that's why I say I come from a single income household, not a single parent household, because I never felt like I was missing that other parent.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. It says. Mike Smith says we have to know when to step back, like Pam said. And Angela Lee, she said it's breaking up. I guess she's talking about the connection that we have here. Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end the show and get ready to close it. We'll definitely pick next week, next Tuesday. I think Tamisha, she's up. You keep saying that she's watching on our end. She's watching. I think she's having some internet connections there as well. The Brand Codes podcast today, giving you the bag. We're going to say this, okay? Women, men, we need each other. We need you guys. And, please allow us to be able to do what we do and, be the best that we can definitely be because we need each other, especially during the times we're growing up in now. We need each other. And we know for a fact that, when the family is together and the household is together and we on one accord, man, we can definitely be unstoppable. And, we'll just leave it at that. Anybody got anything, any words to add on that?
Yeah, if anybody told you they love you today, we do, and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Big Dog?
Yes, sir. We love you. And I stole this from my wife. Do something today that your future self will thank you for.
You know what? We're going to drop the mic on that. Next week, look out for the show next week. Next Tuesday, we're going to be going live, 8 o'clock p.m., same time, same channel. Next week, you don't want to miss the show next week. We're going to be talking about the church and the community. Ooh, and that is going to be a fire conversation because I know for a fact we all got something to say about next time on the Brandon Code Podcast.